everyone, and welcome to another installment of The Man About Town. I'm John W., and I will be your host for this evening. Tonight we will be skirting the table again with another one of those original SoCal gastronomic institutions, Jack in the Box. It was in 1941 that a San Diegan named Robert Oscar Peterson opened up a hamburger stand at 63rd and El Cajon Boulevard. He named it Topsy's Drive-In. It could have been just another burger stand, but for a unique feature. It had a drive-up window where people could order items from an outside menu board and pay for and pick up the ordered items without ever leaving their car. There was nothing else like it at the time, and the new drive-in restaurant was a hit. In coming years, more would be built in the San Diego area and renamed Oscars, with added car hop service. As these were built, a decorative circus theme emerged, with big top-like carports and roofs festooned with circus animals along the edge, and a starry-eyed clown carrying a burger on a plate for its mascot. Kids could get paper masks of the clown's face with their meals. It served up its basic hamburgers for 18 cents. Rather simple, but distinguished by what he called his secret sauce, originally a blend of Thousand Island dressing, mustard, and chili sauce. He kept the price low by operating his own commissary company, which serviced all his other different restaurant enterprises, including Hamburger House, Jolly Ox, and Family Tree. But it was in 1951 that Mr. Peterson made what would turn out to be a fateful move. He had built an Oscars far afield in Long Beach on Pacific Coast Highway, a few blocks south of the traffic circle. But this one was different. It was more like the original Topsy's building, but with a unique icosahedral rotating sign bearing the name Oscars and the Oscars clown. The drive-thru now had a two-way intercom at a menu board placed a few car lengths away from the window, allowing more auto patrons to be served and to be served faster. Car hop service was eliminated. Soon the other Oscars would be converted, with the icosahedron becoming a motleyed cube and the clown transformed into the harlequin head of a Jack-in-the-Box toy popping out of the top. And the now very squarish buildings reflected that theme. With its new look and improved drive-thru, this version of Oscars was renamed Jack in the Box. It was a far bigger success than any of his other restaurants, including the previous Oscars format. Interestingly, the one in Long Beach was still operating as an Oscars with its signature icosahedral sign, at least into the early to mid-60s. Under independent ownership, maybe? In 1960, he changed the name of his San Diego commissary to Food Maker Incorporated and began expanding Jack in the Box to other areas. Soon Jack in the Boxes began popping up in Arizona and other states. By then it had also developed the talking clown head for its drive-thru intercom, which would soon become a pop culture icon. Now there were other fast food operations springing up quickly, and by the mid-60s Mr. Peterson had tired of the restaurant business and decided to go into banking instead. So in 1968 he sold the controlling interest in the now combined Food Maker to Ralston Purina, who would continue to operate it as a wholly owned subsidiary. The 70s saw Jack in the Box expanding to other regions of the nation, but with competition with McDonald's for the lucrative kids market proving futile, they decided to reinvent themselves towards a more adult fare. So in 1979, in a nationwide ad campaign, the clown head was blown to smithereens. A couple years later, they began retreating from the rest of the nation back to their southwestern stronghold. Then in 1982, a worker at their receiving facility noticed two incoming blocks of meat on the conveyor belt, labeled beef from Australia, that had an odd color and texture. He pulled them aside, the shipment was put on hold, and samples were taken for analysis. It came back testing as kangaroo. Everything came to a screeching halt. Samples were quickly taken from the entire system, right down to patties already on the grills. No evidence was found for anything outside that unused shipment. But with jokes of put a little bounce in your burger, jumpin' jacks, boomerang burgers, and Jack in the Pouch echoing across the country, sales took a hit. 2 years later, several company officials and a group of investors bought Food Maker from Ralston Purina, and it went private soon thereafter. The decade continued with a dizzying array of new menu items, most of them short-lived, and the discontinuing of many old standbys, including their famous secret sauce. But even then, and with numerous business restructuring, sales stagnated, and the company's fortunes began to turn south. Then disaster struck. In 1993, a young Seattle girl fell ill and died. Other victims soon appeared. The cause was an E-coli infection and was traced back in the coming weeks to a contaminated and undercooked hamburger from a local Jack in the Box. The contamination would show up in other Northwest outlets. Initial response from their spokesman was a week late and badly handled. Public outcry mounted and government investigations began. It appeared that Jack in the Box may have finally gone down for the count. But while they initially failed at talking the talk, they stepped in quickly to walk the walk. Every burger in the affected states was pulled from the system. All aspects of their operation, from the farmers to the grill cooks, were microscopically examined and examined again. Initial blame placing changed to a general mea culpa, and they offered and followed through on a pledge to fully cover all the medical expenses of all those affected. And in 1994, they implemented their hazard analysis and critical control point system, a literal farm-to-fork quality and safety control system, and a first for the fast food industry. It was a long road back, but Jack in the Box eventually recovered, and not just in sales, but in their identity as well. In 1995, in a national ad campaign, Jack reappeared, having recovered from his explosive demise decades earlier through the miracle of plastic surgery, and getting his revenge by blowing up the corporate boardroom. Today, Jack in the Box sits comfortably as the nation's 5th largest burger chain. Now Jack in the Box Incorporated, it is one of the leaders in fast food innovation and the industry leader in food safety. More popular than ever, and with record profits last year, its future is once again looking bright. So look out, America. There could be a Jack in the Box popping up near you. That's our show for this evening. Thank you for visiting, and we invite you back soon for another feature from the Man About Town.